I'm going to be real. Confidence is something that does not come naturally to me. It is something that I have had to learn that I am allowed to claim in my own life. This idea of confidence, I'm standing in front of you today feeling the most confident I've ever been. However, would I describe myself as a confident person? I don't necessarily know. But today I am going to be sharing with you all some of the lessons that I have learned about confidence because we all need a little bit of confidence in our lives. If you are someone who is similar to me, then maybe you have had some pretty low lows and some pretty high highs when it has come to your confidence. For me, confidence is something that I've always based on arbitrary things. And I don't even know if I'm using that word right, but I've always based confidence on frivolous things, fluff, things that actually don't matter at the end of the day. I thought that confidence stems from how you look. But over time, as I've gotten older, I've realized that confidence comes from the things that you do, from the way that you feel, from the things that you think, rather than how you look, rather than what you achieve. It's about just being okay with yourself and allowing yourself to slip up and make mistakes and know in your heart that you're still a good person because confidence is a multifaceted, multi-layered, sort of conundrum that we all have to come to terms with. Some of us are raised with, an easier identity with confidence. Some of us, it comes more innately. And others, like myself, struggle a little bit more with confidence. And I'm here for you. I hear you. I understand you because confidence is something that really has been a struggle for me in my life, just like anyone else. Some days you feel confident, some days you don't. Sometimes it's months or years or decades where you might struggle with your confidence. If there is one thing I know to be true, it is that you deserve to have confidence within yourself and your life, just as I do, just as Johnny down the street does. I don't even know if I have a neighbor named Johnny, but I'm just making him up at this point. Everyone deserves to have a little bit of confidence, and I hope today, through my lessons with confidence, that I give you a little bit of strength, a little bit of hope, a little bit of alignment within yourself about what confidence can look like and feel like for you. Because everyone has their own journey with confidence. To be honest, confidence for me felt like something that I had to earn, throughout the first 20 something years of my life. I felt like confidence was something that was just out of reach for me, that just wasn't quite available for me. I thought that I had to have a certain physique or a certain face or a certain hair or a certain grade level or a certain job or a certain uh, anything. Honestly, I thought that I had to have a certain thing in order to feel a certain way. Is that the reality of how life works? No, that is not how life or confidence work. When it comes to confidence, it's about how it feels for you rather than what it might look like for other people. I feel as though nowadays, when we scroll on our phones, especially as honestly, either gender, I was going to say woman, but even on my boyfriend's phone, I see stuff about like physique sometimes. Mostly on my boyfriend's feed, it's just about BMX bikes and trucks and fixing stuff. But anyways, across genders, you still see stuff about having the perfect physique and having the perfect lifestyle and having all of the perfect things in the world in order for you to be happy and, have the picturesque life. And that's what the epitome of confidence looks like because that is what these people, these content creators, these influencers are showing us what confidence looks like. Because when we look at these content creators, when we're seeing just how beautiful and gorgeous and picturesque their life is, we think that we have to have that in order for us to feel confident and secure in our lives. At least that is how I have felt at times. However, I am older, I am wiser, I have more experience, and I see things a lot more clearly now. I see that the life that I am able to live, the life that I feel the most confident in, is when I am taking care of myself. It's when I'm being intuitive. It's when I am making decisions that are genuinely the best for me at the end of the day. Do those decisions look like what everyone else is doing? No. So when it comes to confidence, when it comes to this comparison game, I don't know what you want to call it, that's like the same thing. But when it comes to confidence and figuring out what it looks like for yourself, you really got to do a deep dive within and figure out what you actually like about life, what you actually want to do, what you actually like about yourself, what you actually want to be. And if there's a discrepancy between the things that you like about yourself and the things that you want to be, and I'm not talking about insignificant things such as I want to be a certain body weight or I want to have a, certain amount of money in my paycheck before I can feel confident or bank account, you know what I mean? But confidence doesn't have to look like these certain levels or, guidelines that we have to live our life based off of. It's about doing what feels right for you. So if there's a discrepancy between what you like about yourself, what you like about your life, and what you desire, the way that you can help yourself build confidence is either one of two ways. The first way being, and maybe you're this type of person where for you, getting the hardest thing done launches you into confidence. So for you, if there's something that you really want to do, that you really want to push yourself to achieve or whatever it is, to allow yourself to have a little bit more confidence in your life, kind of like not this all or nothing thinking, but just more stepping into the uncomfortable. Step into the uncomfortable and build up your confidence in that big leap, in that major way. However, maybe you're a little bit more like me, who needs a little bit more of gradual, baby steps, inching yourself towards something bigger, a feeling that is larger than what you may have right now. So if I were to kind of conceptualize those two ways of diving into something, maybe you want to start a podcast. Maybe starting a podcast is something you've always wanted to do, and you like how creative you are, you like how you think in your life, and you think that you have some good things to say from time to time, and you feel as though it would make you a lot more confident in your life if you had a platform to share that. If you want to make a podcast, if you want to have a platform, if you want to create and do something with your life, there's two ways of going about it. You either think that, and then the next day you go buy all of the equipment or whenever you have the money, and you sit down in front of the camera and you press record and you just post it and you just put yourself out there and you step into that comfortable in like a very leap way. Like you wake up, you jolt up, and that's what you're going to do to step into that confidence. Maybe you're a little bit more like me and you want to think methodically about this. You want to do this in the best way. So you decide to take a little bit of baby steps moving forward and just figuring out exactly how you want to approach this thing. What you can do every day for a little bit to make yourself feel a little bit more confident about that podcast. Because either way, at the end of the day, you're going to start the podcast. You are going to feel confident within yourself and your abilities by either jumping into it or by building yourself up. And that's like a lot of things in life. You could either jump right into the lifestyle or the life or the version of yourself that you want to live, or you can take baby steps. It really just depends on what you think is the best for you. And you probably intuitively know by listening to that what is the best for you. So that is one way that you could build confidence, is by seeing a goal that you have in your life and either jumping straight into it or taking baby steps and trying to build up your confidence and, succeed for yourself in that way. That's definitely something that I've realized in my life is some days I just want to jump straight into things and I want to take that leap in order to launch myself forward. However, with other things, I like to sort of take those baby steps in order to really develop my confidence. Kind of depends on the task or the day for me, but at the end of the day, it still bolsters up my confidence. So that's one thing about gaining confidence in a way that's a little bit more task oriented. But now I want to switch gears and I want to talk about the feeling of confidence in your life, because this one is a little bit of a doozy. Confidence for me is a feeling that is hard to define. However, I am going to try and define the feeling of confidence that I've kind of come to the conclusion that works for me. I feel as though everyone has their own version of confidence, but for me, confidence is a sureness that I feel within myself, this assurance that I'm able to know that the decisions I make are always going to be the correct ones for me. The assurance that I am living a life that is going to guarantee that later down the line, I'll like myself for the things that I did now. It's knowing that every single day I wake up and that I spend my time doing the things that I love, doing the things that I care about, and also setting myself up for success later on. Because I want to be proud, I want to be confident for the entirety of my life. And today, I feel as though, I'm about to be 25 years old. This is the time where I'm creating the building blocks for what the rest of my life is going to be like. But no matter what your age is, you still have a future. So, you yourself right now, if you are feeling low in your confidence, you need to see and figure out and define what confidence means for you so that you can actively try to shift and live a life and try to develop this feeling within you so that you can continue to have it later on. Because we all deserve to have this sense of confidence in our life. As I mentioned earlier, confidence to me felt like something that was unattainable because the benchmarks that I was basing confidence off of were unattainable. Like it was having a super snatched waist, it was having the most perfect Victoria's Secret model physique and body, and having the most picturesque life, and having a super, you know, high level career, and going to the best colleges, going to an Ivy League, going to, whatever. I'm thinking in extremes here, but that's what I thought being confident meant, was to be an outlier, in a sense, to be the best of the best. I don't know if you know this by now, but I'm not the best of the best. I'm just kind of an average person. And I'm come to the conclusion that I'm okay with being average. I kind of like being average. I like being myself. I like the fact that I am just like everyone else at the end of the day because I'm okay. I'm okay being that way. I have confidence in my ability and who I am as just a human being. And that's something that I had to stop shaming myself for being an average person. Because once I let go of that shame, once I let go of these high level expectations that I had of myself, I was able to sort of wash away that guilt and shame and anxiety about, if I was allowed to have confidence, if confidence was for me. And I finally started actually feeling it because I realized that I was doing pretty okay the whole time. I live a good life. I'm a lucky individual when it comes to my circumstances and how I've, lived my life. I think I've gotten lucky with just being able to take care of myself and to pull myself out of, harder situations. I've found that I am just doing okay. And honestly, being okay to me has become a feeling of confidence. I don't need to be great. I don't even need to be good. As long as I'm okay, I feel okay. And that's kind of that sureness piece that I talked about confidence earlier. Confidence is a feeling where you look at yourself in the mirror and you're able to look at yourself in the mirror. I think for so long, I struggled with even looking at myself in the mirror if it wasn't to critique what I saw in the looking glass, if it wasn't for me to, you know, look at the way that my body looked and to critique it or to have this like intense negative feeling about it. I hated looking in the mirror for a very long time. I don't know about you or if you even know about this thing that people do, and you probably do it. You might. I don't know. Maybe I'm the weird one, but I don't think I am because it's a thing. But I would body check in the mirror so often, like every single time that I would go across like a reflective surface, I would look at myself to see how I looked. Why? Not in an egotistical way, in the way that I, thought I looked good. It was quite the opposite. I wanted to see if I looked like what I thought I looked like, but then I never quite looked like what I thought I did, and it was always disappointing because I was physically checking on myself to see, oh, do I look any better? And then I would look in the mirror and I never did. So that was a little depressing. But when you are able to recognize that maybe this is something that you could do, or something not that you can do, but rather something that you do, you're able to then move on from it. I think when I noticed just how often I was doing these body checks and just how negative I felt about myself whenever I looked in the mirror or a reflective surface, and I allowed myself the time to look at myself in the eyes for longer than 5 seconds, and to look at my body, as a vessel that brings me life and brings me joy and has brought me thus far in my life. I was able to start loving myself. I was able to see that I am just a human being, and this is just a sack of skin that I have on top of a set of bones, and this is all I got. I got this body for the rest of my life, so I'm either going to be okay with it or I'm going to hate it. And I don't really like hating things. So I chose that I'm going to stop hating my body and that I'm going to actually be okay with it. That was a difficult choice to make. A lot more difficult than I honestly would like to admit. However, that's a story for another time, and I've also kind of done a video on that in the past. However, once I got into therapy, I went to therapy and I really like worked on my issues with my body and like my eating habits and all of these things that I was using to act as a sort of crutch and a lever for confidence. I also had eating issues. I don't really want to talk about that right now. But when I allowed myself to move past these negative ways that I was holding myself down, acting like they were actually giving me confidence, acting like being super skinny and, having no fat on my body was the best thing that I could do and best thing that I could be. How dumb does that sound? Like when I look back and I think about it, I'm just like, wow, like that is a really small idea for you to base all of your confidence on. But it was a way that I tried to control my life, and it was a way that I just struggled inside because I didn't know what confidence was supposed to be for me. I didn't know. And I can't be mad at myself for being ignorant about something. Like if I don't have the knowledge and I didn't know any better, then how could I be mad at myself? The only way that I can be mad at myself when it comes to confidence is if I am preaching all of this to you and then I go later on in the mirror and I pick myself apart. I do not do that anymore. Why? Because I've gained the confidence within myself to look myself in the eye, to look at my body, every single part of me, and say, you know what? I am okay with myself. I am okay with you. And I am sure that everything about me is beautiful to myself and to someone in some way. And if it isn't, honestly, I don't really care because I have enough assurance within myself and within my heart and within my mind to know that at the end of the day, my body and my looks are not what matter most about me. Yes, it is nice to feel like I am pretty and to feel like I am, you know, someone who is worthy of being admired or looked at. We all deserve to have that feeling. However, should that be the entire foundational piece of what confidence means to you, especially as a woman? Especially as a woman. However, men feel it too. It's everyone. Everyone wants to feel attractive. But should that be the only reason why you are allowed to feel attractive is if whether or not you're attractive or not? And what's the benchmark of attractiveness? What little lies are you telling yourself in your head? Because you can't listen to the lies that you tell yourself. You can't listen to what other people are trying to feed to you. You can't judge who you are based on anything than what your values are and who you want to be, who you believe you are. You need to have the confidence within yourself to not look out there for all of the answers for all the reasons why you are good or you are bad. You have to look inside and you have to be okay with yourself. And that's where confidence comes into play. And that's why confidence for me, it comes from two things. It comes from actions, which I kind of spoke about earlier in like a way that I didn't even describe that confidence can come from actions and just putting yourself out there and trying something new. I feel the most comfortable in my life when I am living in a little bit of discomfort because The thing about our minds and the thing about being human is that we will find any way to suffer. We will find any way to suffer because it's a part of human nature, is this idea of suffering. So if you are not suffering physically or, spiritually or financially or health or whatever, you will find a way to struggle up here. You will. It'll always come back to you. And I'm being a little bit I don't really know, preachy right now. I don't really know what the right word is, but this is something that I think about often. You will find a reason to suffer. So if you are the creator of your suffering in your life, why don't you use that suffering for good? Why don't you put yourself in the uncomfortable of trying something new and trying to build up your confidence through that suffering, through that re-identification of yourself and of your life? Why don't you just try and put yourself in the uncomfortable of trying something new and becoming an expert in something that you always wanted to be? That's a way to build confidence. But the other way to build confidence is to look at yourself in the mirror and to actively choose to love yourself when you might hate yourself, when you might hate the person that you are looking at in the mirror, but you are choosing the suffering of hating yourself. Why don't you choose to reverse that and suffer by choosing to love yourself? Suffer in the discomfort of actively trying to change your mind to love yourself and to be confident in who you are. You're going to suffer either way. Am I a nihilist? Am I a pessimist for that? I don't really know. But suffering is the bane of human existence. And you can either choose to be confident in your life and yourself and your abilities and who you are as a person and do things and align yourself in a way that feels true and sure to you, or you can choose to never be confident at all. It is all a choice, and what you do after this video will tell you what you need to know about confidence in your own life. Who are you going to be? What are you going to do? The world is yours. Your life is yours. You get to choose whether or not you deserve to be confident. And I sure do hope that you allow yourself to step into confidence, because I know I have. It was not an easy thing to do, by all means. It was very, very, very difficult. And I know it could be very, very, very difficult for you. So I'm not saying that it's not difficult. I am. But what are you going to choose? Anyways, that's all I got for today. I hope you liked today's episode. I am, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm trying to be there for you. And sometimes the truth can be a hard pill to swallow. And hopefully I didn't knock you down a few pegs. I don't know. I'm here for you. And if you want to follow along on this journey with To Be Known, please like and subscribe on YouTube. Listen on Spotify, give me 5 stars, follow on Instagram at To Be Known Pod. I also have a website, and you can look down below at the links for all of that. If you want to follow along on this journey, please reach out to me if you ever have any questions or comments or concerns. I am here for you. You, my watcher, my viewer, especially if you've gotten this far, you are a part of my known community, and I would love to know you. All right. Well, I'll see you next week. Stay true to you. Bye.